Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honors, and glories to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakakodash, and do honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. The salutations to the hopeful elect. This is Brother I'm Noah Allah from Gemma, Chicago, and I'm coming back with you with another lesson. Alright, just a quick testimony, and that what I'd like to share is that our people are really waking up. Alright, a lot of them, pretty much almost every Israelite knows, pretty much, our people know that know their true heritage. Basically, they know who they really are now. They know that they're Israelites. All right. Of course, you have people that know that they're Israelites but are not living the lifestyle as an Israelite. But nonetheless, I would like to show you with my quick testimony of what I experienced. All right. And this wasn't too long ago, but I went to go to Walmart, just looking around and shit, and I noticed that a coworker, right, which I perceived that, he is probably a Judite, and, probably not in any camp, but nonetheless, right, what this Judite was basically doing is that he was talking to two white individuals, and who knows, they might be Jake, they might even just be Jake, but nonetheless, you got this Judite, all right, speaking to these two white individuals, all right. He was talking about how, in the Bible it speaks about, the 12 tribes of Israel, all right, and that us so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, we are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, based upon the curses that we fit. All right, in Deuteronomy chapter 20, the 28th chapter. Right, we fit them curses. All right, and what this Judah was also explaining to those individuals is that he said, how did the tribe of Judah, all right, go into captivity into the Americas, all right? And he was explaining that, the Egyptians sold them into slavery by the way of ships, all right? Traveling on ships going into the Americas, being sold into slavery. And, we know that, the Egyptians, all right, they're Hamites, all right, which are, the so-called Africans over there in Africa, all right, which are not of our people, but of course, you still got some of our people that are dwelling amongst them. But nonetheless, these Hamites, all right, they sold, the tribe of Judah, and Israel into slavery, send them on ships, all right, that history that goes into the transatlantic slave trade. All right. But nonetheless, he was also going into, the prophecies that are coming to pass, the RFID microchip, which will soon be implemented, where soon, you're not going to be paying with cash or anything like that, because we're going into a cashless society. But he was explaining where it's just going to be a swipe of your hand, the new way of the new monetary system that is yet to come, all right, which is also prophecy in the Bible. And yeah, I was hearing this conversation, and the two white individuals, they basically agreed, right? They, these people know what's about to come next. But of course, the Judite, he was speaking about, these prophecies, all right, speaking about, the true heritage, of us so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. But one thing for sure is that he didn't say the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai. He kept on calling on Christ. But nonetheless, the names are important, all right? All right, there's no other name but Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, that you must call upon, on, alright? Because, hey, if you call the Heavenly Father and the Messiah, some other name, like Jesus Christ or Allah or whatever the fuck that these people make up, alright? The Lord is not going to hear you in the time of trouble, alright? The Lord's name is in the Hebrew tongue, and that's Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai, right, which is the Messiah, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Right? But nonetheless, this is 2 Ezra 6 and 28. It says, as for faith it shall flourish, corruption. I'm going to start with verse 27. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which had been so long without fruit shall be declared. And that's what you're seeing happening all around the world. Alright? Our people are waking up to the fact that, they're to their true heritage, that they are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Alright? So the truth is now being declared. Right? Esau's lying bullshit, him trying to hide and cover our true history, our true heritage, right? Really there's nothing Esau can do or nothing that he can hide. Right? The truth is coming out, right? Especially in the times that we're living in right now. And hey, the Lord set up prophets to prophesy, this word, to reveal our true heritage. Right? Amos 3:7, it says, surely the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, will do nothing but he revealed his secret unto his servants, the prophets. And that's right. The Lord, reveals his secrets to his servants, secrets unto his servants, the prophets. All right. They wake up to the fact that they are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of, and, they go out in the highways and byways and prophesy it so that, the nation of Israel can hear. But only the remnant of Israel is going to receive it. Second Kings 21 and 10. And the Lord spake by his servants, the prophets, saying. And this goes to prove that, the Lord speaks through his servants, the prophets. Alright? The men that you see out there prophesying the highways and byways, the men that you listen to when they make edifying videos, even our apostles, Apostle Tahar, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ramla, Apostle Rakah, alright, and on down, and the rest of the brothers of GMS and our elders, alright. The Lord speaks through each and every one of them. Alright, so this is the truth. Alright. GMS basically has the correct doctrine. Because all these other camps, they're teaching something false. Alright, they're not calling upon the names of Yahweh Bashem and Yahweh Shai. They don't even know the names of, they don't even know the name of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai at all. Right? Because, that's why you don't hear him say it. They prophesy the MOTB wrongfully. Alright? They go off in many doctrines. They say that the heathens can make it. All this other bullshit, which is complete nonsense. But nonetheless, hope this lesson was edifying and shalom.